So today I'm going to be reviewing the Canon 50mm f1.8 Mark II. I bought this lens 3 weeks ago when I bought this Canon 700D. What I want to do with this video is to answer the question, is it worth buying? I'm going to answer this question in 4 main ways. So number 1 is its build quality. Number 2, its focusing system. Number 3, video image quality. And number 4, weighing up the pros and cons and deciding overall, is it worth putting in your camera bag? This lens is built out of plastic. It has all the standard things that you'd expect on a lens. You've got your autofocus and manual focus button, which is quite small and a little fiddly, but it does the job. In terms of your macros, not to do with bodybuilding, but to do with how close you can get to a subject with your camera, this lens can focus on objects that are 45 centimeters away. You've also got your focusing ring. So this is sort of one of the quirky bits about it, that the ring is on the very outside of the lens here. Now this is a bit different to traditional lenses where they'd have the focusing ring somewhere closer to the middle of the lens rather than on the very outside. In terms of the focusing system, you can see here from the lens it obviously has its autofocus and manual focus mode. And for a lot of people, they want to know how quickly does a lens focus on objects. You can see from this example that I'm trying to focus on my water bottle and my snapback. And it does an okay job of focusing on them, but it takes a little bit of time. Personally, I wouldn't use autofocus too much. I generally keep it on manual so I have full control over what the camera is focusing on, but it does an okay job. So part number 3 is the video image quality. I went into town earlier on this week to test out the lens and see if this whole f1.8 thing was really worth the money. The benefit of prime lenses is that they generally have a low f-stop. In a scene, you can pick minute areas of the set and focus in on them. So here you can see I'm focusing in on a flower when there's a lot going on in the actual image. Even with this shot on a street, if I focus in on the ground, that's what you pay your attention to. Whereas when everything's in focus, it's just a melee of people. The other benefit of having a low f-stop is that your lens lets in a lot of light, which means that in low light settings, such as at nighttime, you'll still be able to get a decent image without having to spike the ISO uploads and get a really noisy video. Which brings me on to the final part of this review, which is the pros and cons of this lens. There's 3 main pros for me. Number 1 is the price. If you look and click the link below, you can see that this retails for around €100 or $100. And that's a phenomenal price for the image that you get. The second thing is the low f-stop, which gives you the ability to shoot in low light and also really play around with the focus and get some interesting shots for your videos. And the third reason, which is probably a little less than the other 2, is that you get quite a sharp image, a little bit more than what you get with a zoom lens. Now I'll have to admit, there's not too many cons with a lens like this, but if I was to isolate them out, I would say the autofocus is a little bit slow and I wouldn't have the focusing ring on the very outside of the lens. But if you click the link below, you can actually see that the bigger brother to this lens has some of those changes done. Overall, I'd give this lens a solid 8.5 to 9 out of 10. It's no wonder why it's one of the most popular lenses that Canon has ever sold, because it's a great lens for filmmakers.